Hello families, and welcome to TK and Kindergarten with Miss Meredith and Mr. Parkhill. Welcome to Back to School Night. It's an honor and pleasure to have you here and a pleasure to be teaching your little ones. In this video, we're going to see a lot about what our Google Classroom looks like, some of our learning apps, and things that we're going to be learning over the course of the year. So let's go ahead and hop into our Google Classrooms. Here we have my Google Classroom. You can see at the beginning here we have the link to get into our video chat every day. Under classwork, we have important links like links to small groups, tutorials, our daily schedule, and links to all of our enrichment classes. Miss Meredith's classroom is very similar. We have the link to get into video class. Under classwork, we also have important information, links to small groups, and links to get into enrichment classes. Let's take a quick look at what our student schedule looks like by clicking on the link. Here we have our regular day schedule with school starting at 7:45 and going all the way till 2:10. In the morning, we have live full class meetings and small groups with recess. Throughout the day, you'll also see WIN groups and ELD groups. For our small groups, like WIN and our small reading groups, you can see later in the slide for more information about when your student should be in class and when they should be working independently. We also have live literacy and read aloud times and writing, and live math at the end of the day. After our math class, students will be working independently while we have one-on-one conferences. Again, you can see later when your student has their small group times and their one-on-one lessons. This is for Miss Meredith's classroom, but my classroom has a very similar schedule located in our Google Classroom under classwork like we saw earlier. Now let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of the learning applications we'll be using throughout the year. Hello KLA families. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about online learning applications and the curriculum that we'll be using throughout the school year. Our kindergarten curriculum will still consist of whole class instruction online in our Google Classroom, small group and one-on-one time in our Google Classroom or in links with our instructional aids, and independent practice. In this video, we're going to be talking specifically about our independent practice applications. The main hub where your student will find most of their work for independent practice is going to be on Clever. Let's watch a short video that shows us how we can access Clever using your student's device. So the main way you'll access a lot of our learning applications, first you'll have to, in the upper right corner, click on the number. That opens up all your active windows that are available, including the Google Classroom and our Clever app. Clever is the application that houses a lot of our applications for learning. You'll need to click where it says Login with Google, click on your student's ID number. You should not have to re-type in that. Once we're in Clever, we can see a lot of our learning applications, SmartyAnts, Zern, Lexicore. Right now we'll be talking about Seesaw. Seesaw is the application where students will be doing a lot of their independent work. This includes submitting hard copies or submitting photos of their hard copy work, including their letter of the day worksheets or their math worksheets from the work packets, as well as activities that are exclusive to Seesaw. You can access Seesaw in the Clever application by logging onto Clever, as we saw in the previous slide, and clicking on the Seesaw application. Again, Seesaw is where you'll be submitting photographs of your students' hard copy work, as well as doing activities that are exclusive to Seesaw that are also supplementary to their practice. This is what Seesaw looks like in your student's login. On the left, we have a journal of completed activities. When you click to find the work that your student has to still complete, click on the Activities button. There you'll see activities are broken down by the left to do, activities that are in progress, and the activities are done. So you want to look in the to-do to see new activities and assignments that are uploaded throughout the day and throughout the week. To get back to your Google Classroom, you click on the number in the top right corner, and on the far left, you'll see that you have our Google Classroom available. Also in Clever, you'll notice that we have access to our other important independent practice activities, including Smarty Ants, LexiaCore, and Zearn. Now let's take a moment to talk about some of the other applications that will support students' literacy practice. One application is Smarty Ants. This is a game-like activity that helps students with phonics, phonemic awareness, and decoding. And another literacy application is LexiaCore 5 that also helps shift students towards reading comprehension. It is recommended that students spend 10 to 15 minutes daily on each application after they complete their Seesaw activities. Again, Seesaw activities and worksheet activities should be completed first, followed by 10 to 15 minutes on Smarty Ants daily and 10 to 15 minutes on LexiaCore 5. We also have an application that supports math practice. This is Zearn, and it is recommended that students practice Zearn 10 to 15 minutes a day after completion of Seesaw activities and their math worksheet practice that follows our EUREKA curriculum. All of these applications can be found on Clever, and in the future, it is definitely possible and likely that we'll be adding more applications to support students in specific areas of need. Some applications that we are using now or in the near future are Epic for book reading, Benchmark, and many more. We are going to do our best to keep all of our learning applications linked through the Clever app so that you have one hub where you can find all of our learning activities. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Hello, my name is Miss Meredith and I am a kindergarten teacher here at KLA. I am here to teach you about what we learn in kindergarten. Let's go ahead and take a look because it is a lot. So the first thing I wanted to hop into is our science curriculum. It is called TWIG. It is broken up into 4 main modules. The first one is called My Big Nature Adventure. During this module, we explore different plants and animals and why they live in different places. In Module 2, we'll become Marble Run engineers and figure out what happens when we push, pull, and drop objects. How can we change their speed and their direction? In Module 3, we learn how to be prepared. How do we observe weather, collect data, and describe weather patterns over time? And then finally, in Module 4, it is called I Can. And we will learn how we can protect the environment from changes that hurt it. EUREKA is our math curriculum. If you've already seen it, we've gotten into Module 1, so that's numbers 1 to 10. In that module, we really hit home how to write each numeral, how to count forwards and backwards, as well as some other activities such as sorting and categorizing. In Module 2, we'll be hopping into 2D and 3D shapes. Then in Module 3, we'll switch over to measurement and numbers 1 to 10 again. In Module 4, we'll look at number pairs and start doing some addition and subtraction within 10. Module 5, we'll finally start learning about numbers from 10 to 20 and practice our counting all the way up to 100, but we're likely going to be starting that a little bit earlier. And then in Module 6, we'll start analyzing and composing shapes. So we learned about shapes and how to recognize them and what parts they have. In Module 6, we'll start building those shapes and talking more in depth about what parts they have. All right, this is a big one, especially with distance learning. I've been finding it particularly difficult to get some really great sight word instruction in. So I wrote a lot that I wanted to share with you. So these are words that cannot be sounded out most of the time, but they appear a ton in our leveled reading books. Knowing all of these words, the pre-primer and primer words, are going to be essential to your child reaching the end of kindergarten reading goal, which is an EF or a 6-8. If possible, please print out the flashcards that I made available. We work on 5 sight words every 2 weeks, so we're coming up on the end of our first 10 sight words. We've been doing some practice in Seesaw and maybe pointing out those sight words in books that we're reading, but the instruction is not as easy as it is in person. I play a lot of games, and we do a lot of practice and repeating and different things that I'm trying to work in, but I think for this instruction, it's going to be a real team effort from both the teacher and parents at home. We will follow this chart. We will follow this chart in order. So we'll go down this first column, down the second, and then move into the primer words. I put this chart, and it includes first, second, and third grade sight words as well. It's on the back of every packet that you've gotten so far. You can find it right on the back of that first page. So for our reading, big part of kindergarten is we are all going to become readers, which is really exciting and fun. How we measure the student's reading ability is through DRA. And right now, most of our students are at a level A or B. So they're new to reading. We're just learning some letter sounds, and maybe we're starting to take a look at some CVC words. The end of the year expectation is to be an instructional E or F. Instructional means that they can read at this level with teacher support, but it would be very frustrating for them to try and read that on their own. As I mentioned before, sight words play a huge role in students' ability to meet these goals, and due to our current situation, we will need your help getting them to practice these words daily. Let's take a look at what these levels mean for your students. So a level A reader is recognizing some of those pre-primer sight words. They're identifying 2 pictures or words with the same beginning, such as ball or bag. They point to individual words as they're reading, and they can recall story information after reading. So answering, who, what, where, when, why questions about a story that they just read. And they also can use those pictures to figure out what it was when they don't remember. They should also be able to know the direction of the text. So that means reading from left to right. And they can hold and handle a book properly. So this is level A, very basic, as you can see, and most of our kinders are starting out the school year around here or at a level B, which means they can do all of those things. Plus, they know, some more sight words. They're using the beginning sound of a word and the picture to figure out what that word might be. So they might not know all the letter sounds to sound out an entire word, but they know to use the picture and that first letter sound to figure out what the word could be. They're going to point to individual words and use patterns to remember. And then at the bottom here, you can see some next steps for how you can help your child achieve their next goal. So now, looking at where they're starting, let's take a look at where they're going to be ending. All right, I just wanted to emphasize that this is stating they are an independent level E. That is not the expectation. The expectation is that they can do all those things with me helping them at the end of the school year. So they should recognize sight words. That's going to be all those pre-primer and pretty much all the primer words. They're going to be recognizing CVC words quickly while reading. CVC are consonant, vowel, consonant. cat, bat, dog, rat. Easy words to sound out for them. They use beginning and end parts to solve words. They can easily find small chunks inside larger words, like at inside of cat or hip inside of hippo. They listen to their own reading and they self-correct the word when what they say does not match the picture or printed text, or if it doesn't, sound grammatically correct. They should have a reading voice that sounds like a conversation. They'll be putting groups of words together in short phrases while reading. Start to use different voices and voice levels during characters. So, maybe there's a mouse character and they use little tiny voice to emphasize that. That's what we would be looking to see here at level E. They should be good at retelling the story, remembering important details, and sharing them at the end of a story. They should begin to refer to specific pages. So they should be able to find that page number and say, oh, on page 4, this happened. And they should be making predictions about what could happen next in the story based on things that we've been reading. So we've been practicing that in our read-alouds already. All right, and at the higher end of the end of year expectation, that level F, recognize higher level sight words. So we're getting into the end of those primer sight words and maybe starting to recognize some first grade sight words. They're going to remove the ending of words to read the base word. So that's like finding the word read in reading. They're going to pull apart compound words like the word into and see that it's made up of 2 sight words, in and to. They can make connections with the text. Maybe they're reading a book about a person who learns to ride their bike. And they say, I learned to ride my bike this summer. That's a connection to themselves in the story. So I know that was a lot. We learned so much in kindergarten together. And I know this year learning is looking very different so far. But by working together, we can help each student learn all of this and so much more. Please attend the Q&A portion of Back to School Night if you have any questions about the learning expectations or anything else about kindergarten. Thank you so much for watching my video and have a great rest of your day.